What is going on, IF Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're going to talk about intermittent fasting apps. Are they useful? Stay tuned. In preparation for this video, I've been trying this app for about 1 week. I just wanted to get a feel for it, see how it is. It's an intermittent fasting app, and I wanted to see how it enhanced my experience of intermittent fasting. Did it make it enjoyable? Was it something that I could, continue to do? So before I tell you what app I used and exactly what my experience was with it, let me talk a little bit about intermittent fasting apps. Now, there are a lot of intermittent fasting apps out there, and I find it to be a little bizarre considering the fact that what intermittent fasting is asking you to do is simply not eat. And one can just put a timer on their phone that rings when you're supposed to eat and rings when you're supposed to finish eating, and you basically created the app in 2 easy steps without downloading an app. But then I started looking into these intermittent fasting apps and seeing what they promise. And before I continue, and by no means am I sponsored by any application for intermittent fasting. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I am simply literally giving just my unbiased opinion on the apps. Most of the apps that I saw were very tacked on. They seem to just be certain, the user interface was not very friendly. It just looked very outdated, and all it did was some of them just tracked what you did, and others try to add elements of like food, calories and stuff, but it never really did it well. And then it also tugs at my brain in terms of, do we even need something like this to exist at all? But as I was searching through the intermittent fasting apps and looking at which ones are good and which ones are not, or if there's any good ones, I started thinking about possibly later down the line creating something like this, since I have a lot of ideas when it comes to this, but I really don't know fully how to implement it just yet. So I'm not going down that route. And trust me, if I do go down that route, it will be 100% free with no ads. I would much rather just build a community on there, and if it becomes a huge community in the future, then the product itself would just be valuable, and I'd rather play that game and let everyone win, the audience as well as the creators who will assist me, of course, because I am not a programmer. I don't have programming skills. So anybody out there with programming skills, please hit me up. You can email me, or you can hit me up on Facebook, on my Facebook page, whichever one, and we'll get to talking. But this is a long play. This is something for later down in the future. So are intermittent fasting apps useful? If you're somebody who wants to track data with intermittent fasting, understanding exactly how long you fast and when you broke it and what your average fasting times truly are and how long you fasted throughout the week and things like that. If you want to track those things, then by all means an intermittent fasting app will be good for you, because then you don't have to write those things down. But if you're just someone who can just naturally do intermittent fasting without an app, and you just don't really care for the minute details of one time being 1 hour less than the other time, and instead of 20 hours, you did 19 hours. Instead of 19 hours, you did 23 minutes. If you don't care for those things, then maybe the apps aren't for you. But I did come across this one app, and it is the most popular app, and I say this because it has the most downloads, it has the most engagement in terms of reviews. It has been downloaded already about 30,000 times, and this app is called Zero. And this is the app that I use to test if this is something that will excite me. And I tested it, and I can say that it was pretty good. It was pretty good in terms of the simplicity, and sometimes that simplicity is actually good. That less is more kind of works for something like this, because intermittent fasting is already stripped to the bare bones of what it is to control your eating lifestyle by simply not eating and waiting to eat later on. So it is, in that aspect, it mirrors intermittent fasting in its simplicity. And I did like how you can go back and edit some features on there, and you can you know, track what you've done. You can see it in a graph chart, which days you fasted longer than others, you know, things like that. You can scroll through and look at it in actual numbers. It'll tell you that you did 23 hours here and you did 22 hours there. And then they also have the science stuff on the right, which is basically links to scientific studies or videos in which they're expressing the scientific studies of your circadian rhythm, which basically means ensuring that you're not going to eat at specific times, and that there's scientific studies that back not eating late in the day. I'm a proponent for making intermittent fasting as flexible as possible to your lifestyle. So I'm not so much a proponent of the circadian rhythm or don't eat at night type stuff. But there are studies that are coming out about that. So that's something to look into. And did I like the app? Yeah, I did like the app. I did like the app Zero because it was so simple. It actually, no ads. Something that I see myself being able to do is making an app like that with no ads, with the help of a programmer, of course, teaming up with a programmer. But that part I liked. The simplicity part I did like. But what I kind of like, there were certain things that just irked me a little bit, is the fact that sometimes I just, you know, forget to use the app because the app isn't very prominent. It doesn't pop out as much to make you understand that it exists. So it'll tell you, hey, you completed your 20-hour fast goal. Because I do the warrior diet, I set it up for 20-hour fast, which was cool. You can set everything up until 24 hours. You actually can't go further than that, which is a little bit of a bummer because some people like to do 48-hour fast. But if you do a 48-hour fast, the app doesn't have a feature for you. It has a feature for the lean gains, which is the 16-8 diet. It doesn't really have a feature for the warrior diet, but you basically can set it up yourself. So you just do the amount of hours that you would like to fast, and then it will create the fasting system according to the one that you selected, or customized. I of course selected the 20-hour fast, and then I commenced my week. So I would turn it on when I'm in my fast, and then once I'm gonna break my fast, I will turn it off. I've noticed that almost every single time I completely go over my fasting window. I'm supposed to stop at 20, but I usually fast 21 hours, 22 hours, 23 hours. That's usually how I am. I just always fast past my window. I've been doing stuff. I don't focus so much on having to go and eat. It's not that big of a deal to me. So sometimes I wait, I finish what I'm doing, or I go out and do something, or I finish something up, and then I eat. So then, you know, that creates the 23, the 21 hours. And it's kind of cool to see it in an actual number. I never really knew or paid attention so much to what the number was. I just knew that I was already past my fasting window or already within my eating window. I didn't really pay attention to exactly how much time I was fasting. But there is some critique to the app. And I think that if an app was to do something well, the ones that are out there right now, I think Zero would be the app to pull this off. If you're gonna add something like this, you need to add a certain level of achievements or certain trophies that one can get, and then build somewhat of a community behind those trophies, and have people kind of have a friendly competition in terms of who has, you know, fasted for the most consecutive days or who hasn't snapped their fast. It will engage people to use the app. Can people pretend that they fasted even though they didn't fast? Yeah, they can, but I mean, that's something that's on them. It's almost like pretending you went to the gym when you didn't. If you're one of those people, then you're not hurting anybody but yourself, if you think about it. I think you could add that there, the achievements, instead of just saying congratulations, actually creating trophies, saying, oh, you have this is your first 6-day streak trophy, or, you know, you've done 4 months, so you're now a platinum faster or a pro faster, or you've done a year, now you're an expert faster. It's something like that. Give people like to have something that constantly gives them, you know, feedback, even if it's just an achievement. I mean, look at the success of things like the PlayStation trophies and the Xbox achievements and stuff like that, and little like the Snapchat achievements or little tokens that you can get. People love just little feedbacks like that. Also, building a community, having people see, you know, their friends and seeing how long their friends have fasted and what their friends' streak is in intermittent fasting, and who's, you know, like who's the top faster of the group in terms of the streak. You know, you don't have to make it in terms of length, because then that's dangerous. Obviously, people are going to try to outdo others, and they might want to do 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 days just to be like, look, I'm the top one. No, you could do it as, you know, based on streaks or based on consistency, whatever it is. But add more to it in that background aspect, not so much adding more things to press and go to and do this and that, but having that community aspect to it, I think will be very beneficial. And the intermittent fasting community is a strong and very passionate community. We care about intermittent fasting because we know that we're somewhat in the dark compared to what the fitness industry tries to push. So we're proud of our choice of being intermittent fasters. So I think that they should embrace that. So Zero, if you're watching this video, if you're listening, take heed to my comments or critique. You have a really good app. Just adding something more to it, giving it more of an oomph, making me really care to go and check. That might give it the nudge that it needs to be actually a very popular app. 30,000 downloads is good, but that is not anywhere near a success app. You know, it's just a very mediocrely good app. There was so many moments where I completely missed days to go on my phone and turn it off and stop the fast and start the fast. I completely missed them, and then you can't actually go back a day to fix it, but you can edit the times if you forgot to close it and you're like, oh wait, no, I stopped eating at 5 o'clock. It's like 7 now, let me stop it. The good thing is they let you edit that time, so you can say, oh well, I'm gonna stop it now, but it really was 5 o'clock, so let me put it as 5, and then it'll work. I know it's not easy to come up with these kind of things and set them up, but I think that if it's done well, then this actually could be a really, really, really good app. Right now it's just a good app. It's very simple, which I like. The clean user interface, I love those kind of things where it's just very, very, very simplistic, and it makes it no clutter free, and you just press buttons and there's like 1 or 2 things to press, and I like those kind of stuff. I like the simplicity of that. But I think that it needs to have more going on with it so that it can be a viable thing for me to actually care to pick it up and open that application and not miss fasting days, and look at who, friends and family that are joining in and doing stuff like that. So that's my take on it. I came into the intermittent fasting apps thinking, what's the big deal? What's the point of it? And then I left somewhat intrigued and thinking about the future of maybe diving into that. Not thinking about doing that right now, but just, inquiring on that. So like I said, anyone who is good at programming and doing those kinds of things, you can hit me up. Go ahead, we could talk about it. We could see what we could put together, if anything could be built, and maybe we could put something out. I don't know. But I have a few more ideas. I don't want to just blur them all out here, because if I decide to do it, then I think I want to have, I want to have my little tool belt that I could pull out things that other people don't have. But like I said, from the ones that are out there, I think Zero has the biggest possibility or potential to actually do really well. Hopefully they take heed of these comments and critiques and make it a little bit better. And if you want to go ahead and download that, it's called Zero Intermittent Fasting app. You can search it on Android, you can search it on the iPhone. It's very easily searchable, and you can find it or you can just put intermittent fasting app, and I think Zero is the first one that comes up because it's the most popular one. So like I said, not sponsored by Zero, not sponsored by any other intermittent fasting app at all. Something I just wanted to try, and I just wanted to share this with you guys.